Hey folks, welcome back to the channel, and we're reporting from not where I typically am. You see, I've got the sun outside. It's weird, but here today to talk about the new changes to the Capital One Venture X and Venture X business card that are coming in February of 2026. It was reported first by the Points guy, and then other blogs have picked it up. It's going around the internet. We've seen a couple videos already. Check out John R's channel for his video, his take on it, and Points of Philip has already done a video, and I'm sure that there's going to be other videos as well, and I'm sure it's going to be brought up in Joe Barretto's live tonight at 7 o'clock, just to tell you what day of the week I'm recording on. Capital One Venture X and Venture X Business, starting on February 1st of 2026, authorized user cards and employee cards will no longer have access to the Capital One lounges as free and unlimited access that the Venture X currently gives you. The Venture X Business does not currently give any user complimentary access to the lounges. So, starting February 1st, if you want your authorized users to continue to have access to the lounge, it'll be $125 a year on the Venture X. On the Venture X business card, you can add employee cards to get lounge access at $350 a year. So this is now effectively a usury fee. And like the way I've been thinking about it has been like car mechanic or car dealership, where yeah, you get the basics for X and now you want the basics plus, that's going to cost you Y. So if you have two authorized users now with the Venture X, starting in February of 2026, it's going to cost you $645 in annual fees with the Venture X. Now, Venture X, I'm sure right now will still have the $300 travel credit or $300 travel coupon and 10,000 points on the anniversary. Those have not been changed as of yet. So you could net out $5 and still pay $250 for access to the Capital One lounges and the Capital One and the Priority Pass lounges as well on the Capital One Venture X. This isn't cool to have that additional fee associated. Now, what I would have rather have seen would have just been Capital One to announce, hey, starting February 1st of 2026, authorized user cards, there will be an additional annual fee for each authorized user card of $125, because that's all you're paying for. So I don't like that it feels like an extra fee, that it's like it's not a bait and switch, but it is very definitely something that doesn't quite add up. Right? It adds up in terms of, okay, you do have to pay this fee, but it's not like part and parcel of holding the card. You can still have a no annual fee authorized user, but they'll have no lounge access. Additionally, guest passes, you can bring in guests to the Capital One lounges, landings, all of that, currently with no charge. Starting in February, guests will be $35 for the lounges and $45 for the landings, I believe, and $25 for those under the age of 17 for children. Again, not ideal. If you do have authorized users, by the third time you pay for a lounge, you may as well have just paid for the authorized user to get unlimited lounge access. So if you travel a bunch and you were using the Venture X for that free lounge access, you may want to pony up the $125. There are certain folks that it's just going to make sense just to add the $125 immediately. If you're not someone who travels frequently, maybe the $35 surcharge would be better for you for the lounge. I don't know everyone's particular use case. I don't hold the Venture X. For business users, for businesses, especially businesses that can produce a good number of employee cards, the $350 just seems like a pretty nice quality of life improvement to your workers. If you can spring for it, why not? I get the $350 to the bottom line that wasn't really there before, but your folks weren't getting access to lounges and ability to continue to be productive for those 2 hours that they'll probably be stuck in a layover and needing a lounge for. So the extra fees, it feels a car dealership type thing where it's an extra package that you can choose to buy. And I typically like choice, but I don't like that you can still get a no annual fee authorized user card currently, because this is how I've been reading it. And then you pay an extra $125 to unlock the feature that you were going to get the authorized user fee for anyway. I don't know how to define it offhand, how to feel about it offhand. I like choice. Choice is usually good. Choice should help customers, but I don't know that this is the best way to use choice. You're no longer getting a thing that was included in the annual fee of your card, that you're starting off at $395, and then you're adding an extra $125 per card. So if you have 2 cards, that's $645. If you have 4 cards, that's $895 in annual fees in addition for the annual fee for the Venture X, where no other additions or changes to the card are happening. You're just giving 4 authorized users unlimited access to lounges. $500 is pretty steep. Even if you net out to $5 for yourself, you're still paying $500 for the privilege of going to the lounges. I don't know how I feel about that. Anyway, so that's the Venture X and Venture X business changes. It will be interesting to see what happens next, because we knew that the Venture X couldn't sustain itself at $395, and Capital One just made a $35 billion expenditure, and this is one of the first steps, I'm sure, to start easing some of that pain. If you have, 1 million cardholders, 1 million times 125, if they all added an authorized user to get lounge access, because it's not adding an authorized user, they would cut the authorized user. You're still getting the authorized user for free. Now you're paying for their lounge access. So it's less than ideal there. At least that is my reading on things so far. I've looked at a couple videos, so I've got the Points Guy article down pretty well. And again, it doesn't mention that a charge for the authorized user card is being implemented. It's a charge for the authorized user to get access to the lounges, both Priority Pass and the Capital One Lounge. So we'll have to see what happens there. I don't love the change necessarily, just because I would rather have seen Capital One institute the authorized user fee is now going to be $125 a pop. Do with that what you will. Now it is, you still get the authorized user card, but to unlock the main features of the authorized user card, it's a $125 fee. That's not cool, but it is what it is. Anyway, just wanted to chime in here on this one. I understand where Capital One is coming from. This is the first step in starting to recoup some of the costs from the Discover acquisition, and also in the name of giving more lounge access to folks, just because the lounges are pretty full. Hat tip: get an airline partnership where you can access that airline's lounges, like the Chase Sapphire Reserve has with Air Canada and Maple Leaf lounges, or that American Express has with Delta and Lufthansa lounges. Get a partner that will give you access to their lounge. That would be a better way to alleviate some of the lounge issues than instituting a $125 usury fee for authorized users. The other thing would be build more lounges. Capital One lounges and landings. There are fewer Capital One lounges and landings now than there are Chase Sapphire Reserve lounges or Chase Sapphire lounges. Chase Sapphire came out after Capital One lounges. So Capital One very much behind the 8 ball. They should be opening more lounges. It would behoove them to work out a deal with an airline partner, some airline partner, to get access to their lounges. I'm not going to make a comparison to the Chase Sapphire Reserve, because the Sapphire Reserve, we still don't know what the Sapphire Reserve changes may be coming. And if the authorized user fee goes up to $195, you're paying $695 for the card, $195 for the authorized user. Authorized user is still going to get access to the lounges. This change is going to upend the dynamics a little bit between the Venture X and the Sapphire, where the Venture X was a big family play, where you could have your card, you the primary card holder, at $395, an authorized user at $0, and between the two of you bring 4 other people into the lounge. That's going away. So now the question is going to be, do you want to pay $35 a pop for a guest, or do you want to pay $125 for an authorized user and maybe another $35 a pop for a guest? Or do you want to pay $250 for authorized users to get access to the lounges? The math's going to change on the Venture X, and they didn't add anything else to the card. So you're literally just paying for lounge access, and you're not even just paying for lounge access. You're paying for lounge access after getting a free card to do that. So now you're paying more for the same thing. Just is what it is. Anyway, we'll just have to see what happens from there. I'm not going to do any other comparisons between the Venture X and Sapphire Reserve. I'm not going to even bring in the Ritz-Carlton card into this, just because we're going to use the cards currently available. And yes, the Ritz-Carlton is available, but the steps you have to take I'm not going to worry about that. But that's going to do it for this one. If you like what I do, hit the subscribe button down below. Check out the videos that are going to pop up here. Check out the Stack Your Points podcast. We record it on Mondays. We release it here on YouTube on Wednesdays and Fridays. We do a live on Thursdays. I'm sure we're going to talk about this on Thursday as well. And yeah, that's going to do it. Thanks so much for your time. Check out the pinned comment for ways to support me outside of YouTube, including the Rove Miles referral. Talk to you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.